You're listening to the Open Podcasts.
The fact that I'd been up there and given myself chances before to win the Open, I knew that I had the chance. But as years were going by and I was getting older, the harsh reality of A, not attaining my dream, and B, missing out on the Open Championship, the greatest tournament of all, was starting to cross my mind.
Darren for an eagle, runaway ball, yes, the second eagle of the week at number 7, Big D's 2 ahead.
In the game of golf, a number of players seemed on a collision course with success from the very beginning. Greats such as Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, Seve Ballesteros and Gary Player all won the Open at a young age, fulfilling their potential. Another of those players who seemed inexorably linked to the claret jug was Darren Clarke. A world-class player for much of the late 1990s and 2000s, with a links background, Clarke appeared destined to win golf's original championship, but could never quite seal the deal in the Open or any other major. That was until, in the most unlikely of fashions, when it appeared all hope was lost for Clarke to ever achieve his ultimate dream, one of golf's greatest fairy tale victories occurred on the links of Royal St George's in 2011. There, Clarke achieved the unthinkable. Perhaps it was written in the stars all along.
Were my chances diminishing? Yes, they were diminishing. But did I write myself off? No.
Playing like a winner, a champion.
This is Tales of the Open. This is the story of Darren Clarke. Clarke was born in County Tyrone in Northern Ireland in 1968, and with a keen interest in sports from a young age, it didn't take long for him to find unbridled joy at his local golf course in Dungannon, shortly after he started caddying for his father.
Well, I went to school and I played everything. You know, I played rugby, played football. My grandfather played football for Ireland with all one football team. My dad played Irish League soccer and stuff. So I grew up predominantly playing soccer up until I was about 9, 10, 11, and then got into my rugby as well, and then into my golf after that. But I played tennis, I played squash, I did everything. Any sports I could get into, I got into at school. Well, my dad started playing, and I started caddying for him. I think Mum probably wanted me out of the house, so Dad would play usually on Saturdays and Sundays, and I'd go out and start caddying for him from when I aged about 9. That was the first time I got out there, and I thought, after caddying for him for a couple of years, I thought I should have a go at this. This looks quite like a bit of fun. So I took the game up when I was 11. I played at Dungannon Golf Club. During the summer, I played 72 holes a day. I just couldn't get away. I couldn't leave it alone. I had the bug, and I wanted to play, and I wanted to get better. So, you know, it was a case of all my other sports that I'd played going through school were more predominantly team sports, and to then find a sport where it was me against the golf course, it was more individual, obviously really appealed to me, and I wanted to play as much as I could. Practice facilities weren't that great at the club, so it was a case of playing as many holes as I could, and you know, I couldn't put the clubs down. I wanted to play all the time. I'd making my first pars, making my first birdies, making my first eagles, and then maybe making a double in the hole the next day. That was the whole thing that got me into it. It tested me, and it wasn't a game that obviously you could perfect, even though at that early stage I thought I could, like any young kid. But it was the challenge of the game, the challenge of the sport, and I had an inner desire just to improve and get better.
Clarke found himself drawn to the game and soon to links golf as he became enamoured with golf's original major and a special Open Championship venue just down the road.
Links golf, of course, almost ideal coming from Portrush that he plays so often.
Soon, dreams of winning the Open would follow.
Oh, I don't. It was Peter Allis.
It's Darren Clarke there, 1 under, and he's heading back in nice form, and this for a 2. My golly, he didn't half give that a rattle. He's having a little smile to himself. He delighted the hole got in the way. It may have knocked it out of shape. Maybe oval now.
You know, listening to his tones, and when the Open was on, you know, it used to be on the TV for how long was it on for? First thing in the morning until late at night, and I wouldn't miss a shot. I'd just sit in front of the television and watch everybody. You know, Jack Nicklaus, Seve, Gary Player, all the guys. When any golf came on the television, I wanted to watch it, but even more so when it was the Open, because the Open is the biggest and the best tournament in the world. And to watch all these great players playing on some of the best links golf courses in the world, and, you know, with high winds and the courses playing difficult as they were, you know, it was something that was just appealed to me. Started playing my golf at Dungannon Golf Club, which was a parkland golf course. But from I was about 12 or 13 when I started really getting into it, my dad would, our friends from Dungannon, we would drive up here to Portrush on a Friday afternoon. There was cheaper green fees on a Friday after 4 p.m. So we'd drive up and, you know, I had an affinity to links as soon as I got here, and as soon as I started playing that every Friday. And, you know, you go from parkland to playing a links golf course, it's a completely different format of the game. It's totally, totally different. And whilst it was difficult enough at Dungannon, this was even more difficult. This was and is the ultimate test of golf. And because of that, obviously, as you've said, they're watching the Open. I would be the young kid on the putting green, standing there, this putt's for the Open, and whatever. If I'd lipped out, then I'd convince myself, right, I'm in a playoff now, I've got to hold the next one. And the tournament, above all, the Open Championship was the one that I always wanted to win. It's been a dream to win it. From when I first got into the game and my handicap started coming down, where it became reasonably apparent that I could be pretty good at the game. The Open Championship was always the one tournament that I wanted to win. It was the reason why I went and practiced every day. It was the reason why I would go out and hit balls here in 40, 50 mile an hour winds and rain coming in. And the whole reason behind that was to try and get my hands on the claret jug.
With an ultimate goal in mind, Clarke improved rapidly, attending Wake Forest University after his junior career and turning professional in 1990. From there, it wouldn't take long before Clarke had initial success on tour. In fact, qualifying for his first Open Championship just a year later in 1991.
I turned pro at the end of August 1990. I had a pretty successful amateur career. I was playing off +4 just before I turned professional. The gulf between top amateur golf and top professional golf is much bigger than it would appear. It's a different game, and I think one of the things that struck me most was how good a score the pros were able to shoot even when they're having a slight off day, and that comes down to the amount of time that they practice and how they structure their practice. Predominantly from 100 yards and in, and that's why we scramble and turn bad days into reasonable days, so hopefully the next day will be better and then we'll make the most of that. So Chubby sent me on my merry way here, there and everywhere.
Darren Clarke and Chubby Chandler, former player and now player manager.
I think I won my first tournament in end of 1993 in a place called Nicklaus in Belgium. Great golf course, almost links as well, very close to the ocean. And there was a great field there. It was Seve was there, Bernard Lange was there, Woozy was there, Nick Faldo was there, and it was a very, very strong field. And I played with Seve in the last round, and he was coughing and spluttering as he did and stuff. But I managed to hold on and win the tournament, and I think that was getting my first win under my belt at an early stage of my career was good. You know, you see that happening more frequently now with the guys coming out on tour because they're more prepared now when the young kids when they come out on tour. You know, I felt when I first came out on tour, it was almost as if you had to serve an apprenticeship. Thankfully, I managed to get my win early because I didn't want to be on tour for 10 years or 7 years before I won a tournament. And, you know, that was obviously first professional tournament victory was a highlight. And then moved on from there and started getting involved in Ryder Cups and playing in those and winning more tournaments and winning around the world.
He's having a wonderful year. Darren Clarke, he's a Ryder Cup player, that to look forward to.
You know, it was a great foundation for me. But in saying that, the one that I look forward to, biggest tournament that I look forward to year in, year out was the Open Championship. I think from a turn pro in the end of 1990, I think I've only missed one Open Championship. I think at Royal Berkeley when Padraig won. I think that's the only one that I've missed. I had to qualify for lots of them, and did so. but it was the one on my calendar that I look forward to more than anything else.
By 1997, Clarke had won 2 professional titles and had played in 6 straight Open Championships, coming off his best finish of tied 11th the previous year. However, the Dungannon native was to have his first real shot at Open glory and at achieving his dream in the 126th Open at Royal Troon.
Scene that can only mean the Open Championship. Royal Troon this morning with play in the 126th Open already underway. So what history will be written in the next 4 days?
Now the mighty hitter, Darren Clarke. And this is second shot at the 11th, and that's okay. That's okay. It's a pretty tough hole, this par 4. Many have been short playing 2 woods to get up.
With a good start in South Ayrshire, including a tremendous putt on the famous 11th hole, Clarke signed for a 4-under par 67, leaving him tied with Jim Furyk and 2 shots clear of the rest of the field.
The old stone dike that runs along the side of the 11th, and Darren Clarke coming right across the green. He's got to start it off to his right, very difficult putt to judge. It's a lovely approach. I suppose you say it was a little better than an approach. He wasn't lagging it out. He just popped it in there and goes to 4-under within a shot of Furyk.
But out early on Friday, Clarke really began to put himself in an enviable position.
So it's glorious weather and a good leaderboard for Darren Clarke. 5 shots clear of Jim Furyk. They shared the overnight lead, but Furyk has dropped a shot, and Darren Clarke so far is 4-under par for his second round.
Now the 14th, and here's Darren Clarke, the leader by 3. Thought he was in the bunker with the tee shot. This is a par 3, but there he was, almost on the green. Oh, what a lucky putt. So he goes further ahead, 8-under now. Well, that should bring a big smile to his face. Let's have it. There it is. Oh, the marvellous thing to hold a putt from off the green. Now Darren Clarke at the 16th. Oh, another one! Well, after his tee shot, you thought, well, there'd be no birdie for him here, but a lovely approach, and then that master putt. There he is at 9-under, leading by 4.
Darren Clarke, the 66, the lowest round of the championship thus far. At 9-under, that sets a very bold target. I wonder if we're going to see someone from Northern Ireland carry off the old claret jug on Sunday night. Too early to say, but that's very good playing indeed. Had the benefit of the benign weather, very gentle this morning, and took full advantage of it, although he had 3 drop strokes. The blue numbers are where he dropped a stroke. 32, 34, that's a very good round indeed from Darren Clarke.
A second round of 66 put him out in front by 2, and he showed no signs of slowing down early on Saturday. With huge crowds out in support of Clarke, a first birdie came at the 3rd hole following a brilliant approach.
From the middle of the fairway, Darren Clarke over the bunker, same shot that faced Fred Couples. Bite now, beautifully played, well struck. That's the difference between coming out of the rough, Justin Leonard, and a crisp lie on the fairway.
There you are, that's a simple little putt. Look at that, Carl. Very nice 3. Because it's 50 years since Fred Daly, a fellow Northern Irishman from Belfast, won this championship at Royal Liverpool, or Hoylake as it's more affectionately known. He could probably do it again.
And by the time the then 29-year-old had reached the par 3/8, the postage stamp, he faced a putt to take a 4-shot lead once more and spread eagle the field.
Here's another golden chance for the leader. And this for a 2. Good putt. Good putt. Oh, that's a sensation. Sends him to 13 under. Oh. Look at all those Ulstermen there. Absolutely joyous. Tremendous effort thus far for Darren Clarke, playing like a winner, a champion.
But from there, Clarke's 1997 challenge would stall. Wayward drives would see Clarke end the day at 9 under for the championship, losing the 4 shots he gained early on in round 3. And a closing bogey on the 18th would leave the Ulsterman 2 strokes behind leader Jesper Parnevik.
While Parnevik was enjoying his round in the sun, the second round leader Darren Clarke had moved to 12 under. But his driving throughout the round had been erratic, and he was having to scramble too often to save par.
This for 70. Par 71, a 6-stroke swing. It's a bit hard when you do a par 71 in the third round and lose that much ground, but he's just dented his confidence a bit. We have much to talk about tonight, but well, if that's the bad round, Darren, you're in good shape. There you see 32 out and 39 home.
While Clarke remained in touch throughout Sunday, playing with Parnevik in the final group, he couldn't quite get close enough to the lead, particularly after a troublesome double bogey on his second hole of the day with a lost ball off the tee.
Darren Clarke at the second. Oh, well. What happened there? That's gone away over there somewhere.
Although it had looked for long periods as if this could be Clarke's week, a closing birdie was instead only to tie Parnevik for second, as Justin Leonard went clear to win the title by 3.
Darren Clarke, this to finish with a birdie 3. He's got it. And now this could result in a tie for second. With Jesper at 4, 2 birdies in the final 3.
I'd also like to congratulate Jesper and Darren. They're both wonderful players. They both deserve to win this tournament. I think it happened to be my week, but I'm sure that both these players will win many more tournaments and many more majors, and I just feel fortunate to have been able to do what I did against 2 great players.
At that stage, it was more about getting yourself into contention and majors and stuff, and that was really the first one that I got myself in with a chance to win.
Following Royal Troon, Clarke took the next step in becoming one of the world's very best, as the Ulsterman claimed 8 European Tour titles in the following 5 years, including 2 World Golf Championships. The first of those 2 world titles, the WGC Match Play in 2000, saw Clarke dispatch none other than Tiger Woods 4-3 in the final to claim the title.
Probably beating Tiger in the World Match Play at La Costa. We're one of the best players that's ever played the game, and we were also and still are very good friends. And that was a good day. He had an off day, and I had a good day.
Later that year in the Open, however, Clarke could not stop Woods as the American phenom fulfilled his major championship destiny with completion of the Grand Slam at St Andrews.
And the champion golfer for the year, Tiger Woods.
But still, Clarke seemed to be moving closer to his own slice of history, recording his second Open top 10 at the Old Course. And he would give himself another great chance to lift the claret jug the following year at Royal Lytham and St Anne's.
Northern Ireland's Darren Clarke, the pre-championship selection of many knowledgeable observers, keeps the home fires burning. Clarke follows his first round 70 with a controlled 69.
Good play over his first 2 rounds in the 130th Open put Clarke in the top 10, and a third round of 69 left the 33-year-old just 1 stroke off the lead, albeit amongst one of the most clustered final round leaderboards in major championship history.
Yes, Darren Clarke, currently 1 shot off the lead at 5 under par.
As such, Although Clarke would put together a solid round, boosted by an eagle on his 6th hole, he could not get close enough to runaway leader David Duval on a difficult day to go low. The closest he got was 2 shots back with 2 holes to play.
Teeing off behind him, Duval, so straight and long off the tee from the outset, found deep trouble that would give cause for concern. Clarke, meanwhile, 2 holes ahead, had a chance to apply the pressure.
But a double bogey on the 71st hole of the championship sealed his fate with a tie for 3rd.
But like Jimenez, on the 14th tee, he was unable to locate the fairway when it really mattered. And his ball ran and ran and ran, eventually finding a bunker.
My caddy to this day is kicking himself. That bunker off that tee, 298 into the wind. I had a low, strong draw that pitched on a downslope that ran 40 yards into the wind. It was never reaching that bunker, ever, ever, ever. But it was obviously pumped up and, you know, it got there when it should never have got there. But that's links, that's what happens. But I hit the shot and I was happy with the shot that I hit. I hit it too well. If I'd have mishit it, it'd have been fine. But I didn't.
Clarke's powers of recovery at the 17th did not match that of the previous hole. From trouble to even more trouble. And by the time he missed a short putt up at the green, Clarke had recorded a very expensive double bogey 6, ending his challenge and relegating him to a gallant share of 3rd, his best finish since occupying a tie for 2nd at Royal Troon in 1997.
Despite a sandy grave, in the end it was perhaps the missed putts that cost Clarke the most.
At Lytham, I played fantastic from tee to green. I could not have played any better. Impossible to play any better. And I didn't make anything in the greens. From tee to green, that was the best I've probably ever played, and I probably ever will play. But on the greens, I got a little bit lost. But the golf course was wonderful. But then again, you take a look at your winner, David Duval. Did he deserve to win a major? Of course he did. He was the world #1 player. He deserved to win the Open Championship. So it swings and rounds, but it happens for a reason. Sometimes it's not always apparent, but I think sometimes the game rewards all the effort.
Though it was clear to all that Clarke had the ball-striking ability, honed and cultivated on the links of Royal Portrush, to win the Open, the County Tyrone man openly admitted he lacked one crucial characteristic in that quest.
Patience. Because I wanted it so badly. Because I wanted it so much. As I mentioned earlier, there it was the one tournament that I look forward to more than anything else all year. Probably too much so. I wanted to win it so badly. Because of that, I let myself get drawn into situations where I would get annoyed with the odd bad bounce here and there, and then I would take that on to the next hole, and I wasn't able to forget about it and move on. So I got in my own way.
Patience was one problem, and perhaps so was inconsistency for the exceptionally talented Clarke.
I'd go from playing great to 1 week, and then so-so the next week, and then play okay again. And, you know, I've won quite a few tournaments around the world. Should have won more, but my consistency was up and down. And I don't think it was much to do with my ball striking. I think it was more to do with on the greens and my attitude on the greens. And you know, probably always been a bit of a streaky putter. And when I putted well, usually I won. I've always been a bit of a perfectionist and strived to play as well as I possibly could. I've enjoyed my time away from the golf course. And, you know, would I change any of that? Probably not. But I should have done an awful lot better. But there's guys that can be maybe more focused on exactly what they're doing. The likes of Sir Nick Faldo, for example. I mean, Sir Nick, all the way through his career, he was very, very focused on what he did. I couldn't do that because I needed to have a release. I needed to get away from golf and maybe go out and enjoy myself, have a couple of pints and just be the ordinary, normal guy and just enjoy myself. So I couldn't be focused on my golf 24/7. You know, that's not to say I didn't work hard. When I had tournaments, I would frequently be the first one on the range and the last one to leave it. But part of that, again, it was a bit of a catch-22 for me because I thought, I'm putting all this work in and I'm not getting any results back out again. So eventually it would lead to a little bit of frustration, a little bit of, I'm going to the pub, I'm going to go and have a couple of pints and stuff. But, you know, that's just me. That's the way I was, and that'll probably never change.
Subscribe to the Open's official YouTube channel to enjoy the best video content from golf's original championship, including official films dating back to 1970, full final rounds from past Opens, a range of compilations showcasing memorable moments, highlights from the 149th Open, and much more. Subscribe today to make sure you don't miss a thing.
Seemingly in his prime after the turn of the millennium, Clarke's tied third finish at Lytham and tied second finish at Troon were his only top 5 finishes in majors by the end of 2005. But for the Clarke family, tragedy would strike as so cruelly Darren's wife Heather fell ill with breast cancer before passing away in August 2006.
Heather was diagnosed with breast cancer the first time, and we followed the necessary steps, what we were advised to do. She had a successful mastectomy, everything was great. And then a couple of years later, we went to see the doctor when he came back, and he called us in, and your breast cancer's come back again as secondary breast cancer. And for any of the other people that have been through that, secondary breast cancer is a very devastating disease, as indeed is any form of cancer. But it came back, and then it was a case of trying whatever medication that we could. When Heather's secondary breast cancer came back again, then it was, the diagnosis was not good. And you know, I would be away trying to play tournaments, and she would have hospital appointments that I couldn't go to. I wasn't there. She was under different types of medications, and you know, she was weak and not doing very well. Yet I was away still trying to play, and you know, the kids at home. It was a very, very difficult time, and you know, her courage and her braveness through it all was inspiring. And she wanted me to go and play golf. She didn't want me to stay at home and you know, be around her whenever she wasn't herself. So there's times I'd go and play, and you know, my mind wasn't there. My mind was all over the place. But you know, my kids are doing wonderful now. Do they miss her? Yeah, they probably do. But I've been very fortunate that I've met Alison, and she's my wife now, and she's a wonderful stepmother to the 2 kids, and they love her to bits. And you know, I count myself very fortunate. But you know, I had Heather and I had some wonderful times, and Heather's buried here in Portrush, just up around the road there. And on her gravestone it says a quote from Dana Reeves, and it says, "Don't be sad for what you've lost, smile for what you had." And that's you know, time's a healer, and you know, I can look back at the good times now. Yes, there were difficult times, but I can look back fondly on the good times.
Clarke's struggles to win the Open were put in perspective as he prioritised looking after his 2 children, bringing them back to his family and his hometown. In so doing, Clarke was able to reconnect with his spiritual home, the links at Royal Portrush.
Well, after Heather had passed away, I decided, right, it's time to move back home. We moved back home, came back here to Portrush, and the boys are still there, and they're absolutely loving it. Certainly having them back here and seeing them happy again, enjoying themselves here, you know, with the support of my whole family here. My parents are here, and my sister and husband, her 2 boys, same age as my 2 boys, they are here as well. So, you know, it was all getting the family back together again, and that certainly was massively beneficial, not just for my kids, but for myself as well. And then with the added bonus, as you just mentioned there, of being back here at Royal Portrush, where I grew up playing an awful lot of my golf. When I moved back living here, this is where I come and practice. This is where I came to practice every day, and this is where I still come to practice every day. And when you don't play an awful lot of links golf, you sort of tend to, you never forget, but it's the more practice you have on it, the better you become. And for me to get back here and then get back on links again on a golf course as good as this was certainly massively beneficial.
Although Clarke had found renewed enthusiasm for the links of Royal Portrush, it had become a possibility to him that his dream was slipping through his fingertips with each passing year.
And the fact that I'd been up there and given myself chances before to win the Open, I knew that I had the chance. But as years were going by and I was getting older, the harsh reality of A, not attaining my dream, and B, missing out on the Open Championship, the greatest tournament of all, was starting to cross my mind. Were my chances diminishing? Yes, they were diminishing. But did I write myself off? No. I always thought, if I have a good week, a decent week, I can contend for the Open Championship, because I had learnt it from such a young age. And again, being back here in Portrush, playing it day in, day out, and going out to practice on days when you wouldn't let the dogs out. You know, I've got my own tee down here at the back of the range, and I go there, and it was blowing a gale. I'd have 5 layers of clothes on me. It was so cold, and I'd still be hitting balls. I'd be knocking shots down, I was hitting draws, little fades, because if I can practice in that, then it doesn't make any difference what the weather throws at me.
But now back in Portrush with his children, moved back, I think largely for his boys, and enjoying being back in Northern Ireland and playing at his old course of Royal Portrush.
And maybe as years were going on a little bit, it was almost like, whatever, I'm going to do my best. And certainly I was very, very accepting at Royal St George's.
By the beginning of 2011, Clarke hadn't won in nearly 2.5 years, and at the age of 42, set to play in his 20th Open, it appeared as though Clarke's destiny in the Open would not be fulfilled. But in fact, Clarke's story had only just begun. Perhaps the stars would align after all.
When I got to Royal St George's, I got into the locker, and as I've found out, there's always a certain area of the locker room reserved for former Open champions. So when I got there on that Monday, when I went to get my locker, I looked around, let's see, Tom Watson's there, and Paul Laurie's there, and all the Open champions are all around me. I said, what am I doing in here? And as it turns out, Greg Norman had to withdraw due to injury. So Mr. Dawson, bless him, decided, well, who can we put in there would be the least offensive to all the Open champions? So he stuck me in there. So I was in the champions area of the locker room, but I didn't realise it until he actually told me during the week. So I walked into the locker room, into my locker, and there was a little note in there from Tom Watson, Scotty, and said, your locker's in the right place.
As Clarke arrived in Kent feeling slightly worse for wear, his practice rounds left no indication to any discerning punters that he was about to set the world alight, particularly on the greens.
The week before, we played the Scottish Open at Castle Stewart, but my ball striking up at Castle Stewart was fantastic, and I'd sort of lost my way a little bit on that Sunday. I was trying too hard. I knew I was hitting it well. I was trying too hard again, and I lost my way. And then proceeded to have a few beverages. There was a plane put on for some of the players going from up there down to Kent, and proceeded to have a few relaxing drinks with Matt Kuchar and his wife on our way down to St George's. So we flew down there that Sunday evening and woke up on the Monday morning, looked outside, the weather's a little bit rough, a little bit of a sore head. Thought, I'm not rushing to the golf course today. So I wandered up there we're just outside the gates, so I wandered up there at about, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, had a couple of balls. I'm still smarting from the fact that I played poorly on Sunday, the day before, up in Castle Stewart. Hit a few balls and didn't even go onto the putting green because I putted poorly all week at Castle Stewart. So then went out and played on Tuesday with Lee Westwood. The two of us went out to play. Same thing again, hit the ball, went and played, hit the ball great. Every time I got in the green, picked it up, didn't want to putt because I was missing everything anyway, so I thought there's no point putting. Wednesday morning, went and played with Rory. Same thing, hitting it great. Onto the greens, picked the ball up. No interest in putting because I'm going to miss anyway. Played round, we got round to the 11th, and we had two of my good friends, Charles Schwartzel and Louis Oosthuizen, are holding us up because they've jumped onto the 10th tee. Hate that, because if they want to get up early, get up early like the rest of us and tee off the first. So I'm shouting at them on the tee because obviously I'm not taking too long because I'm not putting. So, and Rory's trying to keep up with me because he's trying to have a proper practice round, whereas I'm just hitting it. They wave us up, we join up on the 12th. And I said to the two boys, I said, right, we're going to have a match. We might as well join up and play in because there's nobody behind us and stuff, so we might as well play and we'll have a game. I said, by the way, Rory's my partner. because I may look stupid, but I'm not stupid. So if we're playing for money, trying to get money off the South Africans is very difficult, but so I thought I'd give myself the best chance possible. So, and I'm walking up ahead because I still haven't hit a putt for the day, really. And they all shouted at me, "Oi, Clarke, where's your major?" So I said nothing, just kept up, head down, kept on going, blah, blah, blah. We won, Rory and I won. We actually got paid from Charles Schwartzel, which was a big deal. Got a little bit of cash, but still I hadn't hit any putts.
Although having won earlier in the year, the Dungannon native had little other form to speak of. With his victory in Mallorca, the lone finish higher than 45th in the 6 months leading up to the Open. But a tweak in Clarke's mindset on the greens was just what the doctor ordered.
So I said, well, what am I going to do? I was speaking to Chubby, what am I going to do? He said, well, why don't you go to see Dr. Bob Rotella? Probably the foremost golf psychologist in the game and has been for a very, very long time in our sport. He has many books on the subject. I have them all. I've read that many of them. I speak to him frequently. So I went and had a chat with Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob was trying to get me to forget about technique and trying to get me more to react. Just look and react. That's one of his big mantras. That's what he does, look and react. The less time you have for your subconscious to start talking, telling you nonsense, etc., the less time you have to make mistakes. So, you know, if he's throwing a ball at me, I got to put my hand up and catch it. So anybody do it, from kid or whatever, you don't even think how far your hand goes. So he's basically trying to get to me, well, why are you thinking how far your backstroke is? Why are you trying to draw it? Why are you trying to just look and react? And that's what he was trying to do. He got me putting with a low wedge on the putting green with one ball, so I stopped thinking about holding it and just hitting some putts with one ball. And that was fine. All of a sudden I see a couple of balls going into the hole, so I think, oh, this is not bad. This is a pleasant change.
The stroke looks so good this week.
I started off the next morning, my first round. I think I might have missed the green left on the first. And the putted or chipped it up to 3 feet. Missed it. But I wasn't particularly bothered, which is not like me. Usually I get a bit upset. Oh, this is not bad. So I went on and played, hold a couple of putts.
With a mental approach that had evolved over the course of his career and a slightly more freewheeling attitude, Clarke was able to immediately bounce back from a missed putt on his first hole of the championship.
Second hole. Birdie attempt for Clarke. Come on, hold up. Yes, nicely done. Gets that shot back that he dropped at 1.
A nice birdie at the second hole was followed by a lovely putt at the fourth.
Birdie attempt from Clarke. And, whoa, how did it get in from over there? Big break at the end. So 2 birdies, 1 bogey, and 1 under after 4.
Clarke continued to hold short putts with confidence, including a tricky par putt at the 8th.
Clarke for a par here on the 8th. And good stroke, right in the middle. This is his 20th Open, Darren Clarke.
Before rifling in a bomb on the 10th.
Darren Clarke now on the 10. Oh, yes, straight in. That's just wonderfully struck. Absolutely dead centre of the putter to the dead centre of the hole. His first win for a while this year. Good stuff from Darren. The guy who knows his way around a links.
Clarke even had room for another 15-footer on the 14th.
Darren Clarke for birdie. He's holed 3 long ones already today. This one not so long, but true as well. Darren Clarke.
After missing the green to the right on the 18th, Clarke left himself with a difficult up and down to post 68 in round 1.
Clarke then, we saw his second shot just toppling off the right-hand side. Beautifully done. Darren Clarke is going to close with a par.
Tapping in. Lovely round of golf. Well played.
played nicely, and the weather's not great, and well, this is fine. Shoot a decent score. So I come in, and I'm on the range with Pete Khan, and I'm flushing, just ripping every shot that I go look at. And I see Dr. Bob go back over to the putting area. He said, "Well, how'd you get on?" I said, "Actually, not bad. This time you made a little bit of sense, so just put it a little bit more over the log wedge."
A 2-under par first round left Clarke in the top 10. But as the winds began to pick up on Friday, Clarke only improved further, in no short thanks to an outrageous eagle on the par 5 7th hole.
Pin on the 7th is 31 centre. Darren Clarke at the front of it, so a 90-foot plus for an eagle. He can't, can he? Can't. It's on. Oh, you little devil! Right in the heart of the cup. Darren. Don't go that far on your holidays. Three under. I spoke to him on the chipping green yesterday. He said he was playing some marvellous golf. Just needed to keep a smile on his face. Well, I say you keep a smile on your face.
Says he's enjoying himself more than links golf now because he's staying in Portrush playing more links golf.
And that was only to be followed by another brilliant birdie on the next hole, the 8th.
Darren Clarke second to the 8th, playing back away from the sea. From that elevated bit of fairway down. Come up, come up, come up. This could be good. Could be good. Very good from Darren Clarke. Another very makeable birdie chance.
Fantastic second shot he played to the 8th. Not many players play those low running shots over the ridge in the green to get to 4 under. He's done it. Eagle birdie for Darren Clarke. Taking giant leaps up the leaderboard. One behind. Played his early practice round this week with Rory McIlroy. Tuesday 8 o'clock. Maybe he'll be the star at the end of the week.
A couple of bogeys would follow, but Clarke again made a superb birdie on the 13th hole.
This is for the birdie. Oh, well played. What a day he's having. Had a bit of time with his old buddy Bob Rotello, very well-known sports psychologist in America, at the start of the week. Don't know exactly what the chat was about, but it seems to have done something for his putting. He's putting really well this week.
A short missed putt came at the 16th, but didn't dent his confidence as he played the 18th hole.
Now Darren for his birdie. This for a second successive 68. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. His stroke is so good. Wonderful stuff from Darren Clarke. Shot off the lead. And absolutely right in contention.
Just imagine what would happen. McDowell wins the US Open, McIlroy wins the US Open, Darren wins the Open. Northern Ireland should just retire.
Well, it's been an absolutely fascinating day on the second round of the 140th Open Championship. Darren Clarke and Lucas Glover will be the last out tomorrow at 4 under par with a very compact field. Literally anybody could take this.
Without played second round, played quite nice again, doing okay. Nice bad weather, loving it, great. Because a good score is 70-71's a good score. So it's fine, so I'm doing okay. I'm feeling very comfortable, very relaxed.
On Saturday, the weather was horrendous, and it was just the way Clarke liked it.
A very warm welcome to the third day's play of the 140th Open Golf Championship from Royal St George's in Sandwich, in the southeast of England.
Yeah, I played with Lucas in the third round. And Lucas is a great guy. I've known Lucas for a long time as well, because I've been fortunate. I've played a lot in America as well. And Lucas is a really genuine, down-to-earth good guy. And Lucas was having a bit of a tough day. And I'm hitting shots, I'm hitting little draws, little fades. What I do here in Portrush was all, and the weather was terrible. And I'm really enjoying this.
Looking quite damp already, but that won't bother him. He's used to it.
He got off to the perfect start too.
On the tee from Northern Ireland, Darren Clarke.
Well, I think that's just about the best shot we've seen into the first today. Beautiful.
Couldn't be, could it? Could it? Last man in, birdie 3, the first of the day. Darren Clarke takes the lead at 5 under. What a terrific start. And he's such a momentum player. Well done. Lovely tee shot. Crisply struck iron and a delightful 12-footer right in the bottom of the cup.
But after the first, the putts started to dry up, unlike the weather. Excellent approaches on the second and third weren't rewarded with putts inside of 10 feet. A similar story transpired as Clarke reached the 4th hole.
Darren second to the 4th. That was a very well struck iron, and oh yes sirree, nestle there. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
This is some of the best ball striking we've seen for certainly today.
Well, that was for a 3-shot lead and for the first birdie of the day at the 4th. He gets neither, but it's still a 2-shot lead for Darren Clarke.
Well, Maureen was certainly right there. My word, could have been 2 better than that. That's really very disappointing. Now you've got to have a few deep breaths and think about things.
A bogey then followed on the 5th with a second consecutive short missed putt.
Darren Clarke for his par at 5. He's missed a couple. Steady. Oh no, that was quick.
Feel that one coming, couldn't you, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. Just what he didn't want. Oh, he's played those 5 holes beautifully and he's level par for them. Disappointing, but still a good round.
The lead is down to 1.
Clarke's tee to green golf was supreme, but despite not capitalising with the putter, he wasn't phased like he may have been earlier in his career.
On the Saturday, I probably had as fine a ball striking round as I did at Lytham, if not slightly better. But again, I couldn't put up a hole of putt for love nor money. But it didn't bother me. I didn't get upset about it at all. I just kept on going.
He would remain at even for his day, still at 4 under for the championship, until the 12th.
Now Darren second to 12. Just a little pitch. All feel for the distance. Not a full shot. And he's got plenty of feel. Well played.
Well, this is for the lead on his own, but this putt is going to do its best to escape to the right.
Well done. Brilliant. Look, that surprised him, I think. He's missed a few early on. But that one was right in the heart. Clarke takes the lead. 5 under par.
Clarke's patience was rewarded with a birdie at the 12th, but there would be no more over the next 5 holes, despite continuing to pepper the pins in difficult conditions.
Advantage of 8. Oh, another one slips by. He's played majestically today. I don't know how many putts have just rimmed the hole.
Still, there remained one final chance on the 18th.
Here we go. This for a 3. This to go to 6 under par. It's in. Oh, it's not. My God, he gave that a good run. What a good effort. 69 it is.
Despite a tough day on the greens, Clarke shot a 69 and held a 1-stroke lead over Dustin Johnson heading into Sunday at 5 under par, with just 4 other players under par for the championship. Could this be Darren's best and even last chance, 20 years after competing in his first Open? He certainly wasn't nervous about the possibility.
Come off the golf course on Saturday, and I go in and see the media, and I'm sitting in there, and one of the guys puts their hand out, do you think he can win this? I said, yes. I said, of course I think I can win this. This is what I practice for. This is what I play for. And I think some of them were actually quite taken aback that a 42-year-old guy was leading the Open thinking that he could win it, because there hasn't been too many winners of majors in their 40s.
Darren today trying to become the oldest player to win the Open Championship since Roberto Di Vincenzo back in 1967 when Roberto was 44 years old.
There was probably about a moment where I thought, right, you've got yourself to this position. This is the biggest and best tournament in the world. I really want to win this. But I knew with how my attitude had been all week that that was not what I needed to be thinking going to the first tee.
Always obliging, big Darren. Bob Rotella there, sports psychologist on his right.
Thinking about outcome never benefits anybody. Outcome is a consequence of what happens. And if I was in control of what I was trying to do, the best of my ability each and every shot, then hopefully the outcome would take care of itself. And Dr. Bob and I had a chat on that putting green before I walked over there, and that's how we left. I said, if I can just keep this attitude going, the result is irrelevant. And at the end of the day, if you do your best, that's all you can do, because it doesn't make any difference how hard you try, because you're going to get some funny bounces, and if you do your best, you're going to walk off with, accepting what the outcome was. And I remember walking to that first tee, and I've got all these people shouting and roaring and stuff, and I was unbelievably calm. I went out and I played, and I was probably as calm and relaxed as I have ever been in my whole career in that last round of the Open.
Gladiators entering the arena. So he looks very much in control of the situation.
Getting started on Sunday, Clarke found the first green in 2, but left himself a lot of work to do after a tentative first putt.
Ooh, not what we wanted.
Again, however, he was up to the task.
What a moment to hold the putt. That really is a set, better than an Alka-Seltzer, that a real settler.
And shortly after, the 42-year-old made a forward movement with a birdie on the second.
Second shot of Clarke. Now we've seen a lot close here today. This one's also in a little bowl. Isn't he striking the ball well? Full of confidence. Now Clarke, he's got 4.5 feet here.
A bogey dropped Clarke back to even for the day on the 4th, however, and suddenly Clarke was tied with Phil Mickelson, who had come charging through the field.
Well, he will ride along in a wave of support based on goodwill. He's about a dozen shots clear, in fact tied with Mickelson, but playing well. Nothing too much to worry him or trouble him at the moment.
Well, the crowds were wonderfully supportive to me all week. I mean, they really were. They've always been supportive of me at the Open Championship. Maybe they see me as a guy they want to go and have a pint with or whatever, just your ordinary normal bloke. And, you know, they've always been very, very kind to me. But that week, you know, when I was gathering a bit of momentum, they were getting more and more and more and more behind me. You know, it was almost a case of I wanted to win it as much for them as I did for myself, just to repay for all the support that they've given me all over the years.
But then came one of the moments of the championship on the 7th.
Now Clarke, got to get this on. It's a must birdie hole.
Perfect, up the right side, and that's a little gem. Go on, get up the slope. Driven down the right, then you can use the right contours. You've got to flirt with the front right bunker. That was another glorious iron shot. Darren for an eagle, runaway ball, yes, the second eagle of the week at number 7. Big D's 2 ahead. So difficult to get the line just right and the pace, and this was touch city. Beautiful, beautiful putt.
Now with the lead, Clarke had a moment of luck with his approach on the 9th hole. Perhaps this was to be his day after all.
as we were in the middle of the round, I got a couple of good breaks went my way on the Sunday, one of them on 9 jumping over the bunker. But instead of looking at it from a point of view, well, I've got lucky there, I thought, well, of course, she's just given me a couple back because I should have been a lot better off from yesterday.
Yeah, very awkward stance for Darren Clarke. Severe downslope, feet above the ball. 179 yards, going to come out low. Have to land this one a long way short of the green. Try and chase it up there. Not that low.
Look out, bunker. Oh, it hopped over it.
Oh, look at this now. Oh, boy.
I don't know how it cleared it. Nor does he.
And frankly, who cares? You need that in major championships if you're to win.
Irish eyes are smiling, aren't they? One big hit. Well, it hit on the upslope, which sent it propelling way up into the sky and up and over the lip of that bunker. Good for Darren Clarke.
And as Clarke continued to make excellent pars, including a great short putt on the 11th.
Those are big putts. Almost nerveless. Beautiful stroke.
Both his nearest rivals in Mickelson and Dustin Johnson faltered. Suddenly, after making par on the 15th, Clarke had the championship in both hands.
And the only time I looked at the scoreboard, I heard the roars from what Phil was doing. He was making eagles and birdies for fun. I heard the roars, but they didn't mean anything. It's the first time I looked at the leaderboard all day. I didn't look at the leaderboard. And then I looked at, maybe it might have been behind 15 grade, I looked at the leaderboard. I thought, right, Dan, don't mess up now. 16th here, I thought, right, don't do what my good friend Thomas Bjorn did. Don't hit it in that right-hand bunker. Just keep it left, anywhere left, get it on the greens. Hit it left.
There's 3 holes left, but remember, Thomas Bjorn was 3 ahead in this position on this very hole. Looks to be heading for the centre of the green, and it is. All looks ridiculously easy at the moment.
But I've got a 4-shot lead with 2 holes to play. I thought, just keep this up the right and do this. And I hadn't been thinking about anything at all day until I looked at the leaderboard. Because if you've got a 4-shot lead with the Open with 2 holes to play, you don't want to do anything too stupid. So I get in the 17th and get a nice drive up the right. Had a good second shot, trying to hook it in there, use the wind a little bit, but it got up to something, came back down, pulled it up to about 4 feet, 5 feet. Missed it.
Looks a very good pace. He's got the touch and speed of these down to a tee. That was a long putt up the slope. So he's going up now. Must be all of 4 feet. First one I think he's missed for a long, long time.
It wasn't really bothered, so I got a 3-shot lead nice on the last tee. And if there was ever a scenario where I was going to be nervous, that should have been it.
Now Clarke, one good straight hit. Down for the tee and striding away. And although it didn't run far, that's a lovely, lovely drive.
Didn't bowl him, it hit my driver straight down the middle of the fairway. So then the reality of what's about to happen sort of sinks in. But I know I've got 4 or 5 putts from just off the left edge of the green, so I think I can manage it at that stage. So, you know, it was a very, very special walk. To walk down the last hole in the Open Championship with a lead like that, knowing before I get onto the green that I've won the biggest and best tournament in the world, and all the crowd shouting at me and shouting my name and clapping for me, etc., was just something that I had all sorts of memories go through my head when I was walking up that last thing. You know, the appreciation for the crowds, maybe a lot of them knowing what I've come through and their appreciation and their support for me because of it. But to walk up there knowing that I'm about to achieve my lifelong goal, my lifelong dream. You can't really put it into words. It's the ultimate. just doesn't get any better. And I defied the odds, I defied the critics, and I proved myself right.
But the man of the moment, here he is, Darren Clarke.
Wow.
Makes your toes curl up, don't it? Looks good. Oh,
Open champion. Congratulations, Darren Clarke. 1947, Fred Daly was the last man from Northern Ireland to win. Wow, fantastic, Darren.
A walk to savour with a victory that was a lifetime in the making. What had once appeared an odds-on bet for Clarke to win golf's original major had become unlikely, to the tune of 150 to 1 in pre-championship betting. But Clarke's belief in himself never wavered, and in the end, his destiny was fulfilled.
After, it was obviously a bit of mayhem, a bit of chaos after I'd won. My parents were both behind, my mum and dad were behind the 18th green, as was my wife Alison. And to walk off them and to see them right after walking off the 18th green was wonderful. And then to make sure I didn't make a mess of my card, did all that. Then I had a few TV things to do, interviews before the presentation. And then I've got to make my speech, and I'm trying to find a way in my speech of mentioning Heather without offending Alison, because that's been a very difficult scenario. Albeit Alison's a wonderful leader and she understands. But still at the same time, it's one of the biggest moments of my career. And it would have been very remiss of me not to mention Heather, especially with all the support that I had from the crowds.
Ladies and gentlemen, please forgive me if I miss a couple of people out here, but I've tried for 20 years to make this speech and nobody managed to do it now, so I'll probably forget a few. But it's been a long and bumpy road. I've had good things happen to me, bad things happen to me, but my game in my head were always sort of this way. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. But I've had so much support from an awful lot of people that I need to thank them for me standing here in front of you, being able to speak. More my mum and dad and my whole family, and Alison, my fiance, for all their never-ending support. And to some of you, I may know, there's somebody up there watching down as well. So to everybody, thank you very much.
So I managed to get it in a reasonable way, I thought. And thanked everybody. I didn't think I forgot anybody, but I thanked everybody.
One man that I need to say a very big thanks to, and that's Chubby Chandler. You've probably seen him on the TV a little bit recently. He's the big guy that takes up most of the screen. But to Chubby, thanks. I just can't thank you enough for everything that you've done for me through thick and thin. Thank you. To the support that I've had this past 4 days, I really can't thank you enough. What you've shown me, the support for me, the roaring, has helped me to stand here. So to you all, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for all your support. Thank you.
The Open was Darren Clarke's last win on the main tours, having since found great success in the senior ranks. With 24 professional wins and occupying a spot as one of the world's best players at the turn of the millennium, Clarke has had a fine innings in golf. But as he neared what appeared to be the twilight of his time at the Open, he achieved his ultimate goal. the one goal he wanted more than any other in the game. He heard his name, followed by the words Champion Golfer of the Year. His legacy secured.
And with a score of 275, the winner of the gold medal and the Champion Golfer of the Year is Darren Clarke.
Champion Golfer of the Year, 275 strokes is Darren Clarke. It's a very nice statement coming from Peter Dawson. It's something, if we go all the way back to the start of this, is something that you dream of, and you're used to, and the winner of the Irish Open, or the winner of the British Masters, or the winner of the Spanish Open, or blah, blah, blah. But Champion Golfer of the Year, it's pretty special. It's very special. I am immensely proud that my name is not Clarke Jug. Having my name on there with some of the greats that have ever played the game just goes to show that all the years of battling on, I got there in the end.
With thanks to Darren Clarke. Narrated by me, Shane O'Donoghue. Written, produced and edited by Chris Lewis. Executive produced by Paul Sutcliffe. Additional support from Chris Devine.
Want to keep up to date with the latest news on the Open podcasts, as well as enjoying films, articles, quizzes and much more? Get the Open app today to experience the greatest stories in golf all year round. This has been an original audio production from the Open.